Most people who say they're burnt out are not. They're exhausted, yes. Completely wiped out, possibly. But it's not the work that's killing them. It's the decision that they are not making. And I'm not talking about your friend. I'm actually talking about you.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Because here's what I've noticed. Burnout has become the most legitimate way to stop a conversation. You say I'm burnt out, and people back off immediately. No follow-up questions, just total sympathy. But nobody asks, what are you using exhaustion to actually avoid? Most people aren't burnt out from doing too much. They're burnt out from holding two incompatible versions of their life at the same time.
I like you. Do you like me?
You've already made the decision. You just won't execute it. And every day you delay, the cost compounds.
Smash the like button.
This episode is about naming the decision, not the one you should make. I don't actually care about that. It's the one you've already made, but you're pretending it is still open for debate. By the end, you'll have one question to answer, and you already know what it is. So let's get specific about what's actually happening. There's a psychologist named Leon Festinger who studied this in the 1950s. He called it cognitive dissonance. When what you believe and what you do not match, your brain starts burning energy trying to resolve the gap. Not occasionally, but constantly, like running 47 browser tabs on a dying laptop. Here's what that looks like. You tell people you value creativity, but you work in compliance.
Huh?
You say relationships matter most, but you schedule them last.
Huh?
And you claim you're building towards something, but you've stopped believing it.
Uh-oh.
And here's the brutal part. You cannot rest your way out of this, because the second you stop moving, the contradiction gets louder. So what do? Well, you stay busy. You add a side project, you optimize your sleep, you include a podcast, you download a meditation app and listen at 1.5 times the speed, and you call it burnout. But burnout implies something happened to you. And what if you're just exhausted from lying to yourself? So here's a test. Think about the last time you had a weekend off, like really off, no obligations. Did you feel rested by Sunday night? Or did you feel worse? See, if the answer is worse, it's not because you needed more rest. It's because the moment you stopped distracting yourself, the thing you're avoiding got louder. So, honey, you're not overworked. You're overcommitted to a life you've already decided against. And this is where it gets protected, right? I'm burnt out has become culturally untouchable. You can say it at work, at home, to friends, and everyone just stops asking questions. It's the conversational equivalent of a doctor's note. I watched someone do this for 3 years. A smart person, a capable person, kept saying they were too burnt out to look for a new job, too tired to update their resume, and too fried to even think about what came next. After tons of blood work, realizing that nothing came back, one day, sitting in a car after a long dinner, they just finally said it.
I'm not burned out. I'm terrified of admitting I chose wrong.
There it was. They weren't exhausted from the work. They were exhausted from pretending the work was temporary, from saying just one more year for 36 months straight. The burnout wasn't the problem. It was the cover story for a decision they'd already made but wouldn't act on. And here's what happened the second they said it out loud. The relief was immediate, not because anything changed. The job didn't get better. The circumstances were identical, but the dissonance collapsed. They stopped holding two realities. They were just in one. It was uncomfortable. It was uncertain, but it wasn't tearing them apart anymore. Now, here's the part you're not going to like. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, yeah, I know someone like that, just stop. Stop. Because I'm not talking about your friend. I'm talking about you. What decision are you calling burnout? Think about it.
Feeling disconnected from yourself and society's fast pace? Unusual Practice podcast dives into neuroscience, quantum mysteries, untold cultural truths, and hidden societal patterns. Charlie guides you to think deeper, connect stronger, and heal fractured paths in life. It is time to uncover the extraordinary within and release the programming. Tune in on your favorite platform now. Expand your mind with Unusual Practice today.
Okay, here's where I compare Eastern and Western approaches to this. And you guys know by now, I come from these worlds. So I've just got to show you the difference because I'm doing it because they both get half the answer right and both fail spectacularly when they're used alone. Buddhism would say you're suffering because you're attached to an outcome. There's a line in the Bhagavad Gita that goes,
"You have a right to perform your duty, but not to the fruits of action."
Translation to that is do the work and let go of whether it saves you. Burnout in this view is gripping too hard. You're not just working, you're demanding a specific result, proof you didn't waste time, recognition, security. And the solution? Accept uncertainty. Stop controlling outcomes. And look, I get it. Wonderful. There's something clarifying about that. Now, in the Western frame, cognitive behavioral therapy would say, you've identified the problem, you know what needs to change, and you're just not doing it. You're stuck in rumination. The decision is clear. You're refusing to execute. And the prescription? Stop waiting for clarity. Act. Clarity comes after, not before. And that is also true. However, where they both fail is Eastern acceptance without agency becomes an excuse. You let go of the outcome, sure, but you also let go of responsibility. You stay in the wrong job, the wrong city, the wrong relationship, and call it spiritual maturity. Congratulations, you've just used the Tao Te Ching to justify passivity. Whereas Western agency without acceptance becomes optimizational hell. You think the right plan will eliminate discomfort, but it won't. You'll just burn out executing a decision you're still not sure about. Now, here's where they converge in practice. You accept that no decision will feel clean. No path is certain. You will not have perfect information. And then, because of that acceptance, you act anyway. You stop calling it burnout. You name it the decision. You make it, and the dissonance collapses. That is the whole thing. So, what is the decision? It's not always to quit. It's not always leave. It's not always dramatic, guys. But it is always the same structure. Stop pretending the current state is sustainable. Not figure out the perfect next move, not wait 6 more months, not see if it gets better. Just stop lying.
I am so blessed to have you as a mother.
You know that person in the car? The decision wasn't to find a new career. It was admit this job is not the long-term plan and stop acting like it is, which meant Stop networking like they were staying, stop optimizing for the next promotion, and stop pretending another raise would fix it. Once they did that, the exhaustion dropped. Not because circumstances changed, but because they stopped splitting themselves in half. Here's what happens when you make the decision. The cognitive load disappears immediately. You're not holding two incompatible realities anymore. You're in one. It might be hard, and sure, it will be messy, but it's not tearing you apart from the inside. And that split, that in itself is what burnout actually is.
What are you talking about?
Now, here's the question you need to sit with. How long have you been pretending? 6 months? A year? 3 years? Because here's what you need to understand. The longer you wait, the more you invest in the wrong thing. Barry Schwartz wrote about the paradox of choice, how more options make decisions harder. But there's a darker corollary. You see, delaying a decision doesn't reduce difficulty, it just raises the cost. You end up signing another lease in the city you want to leave. You take a promotion in the job you're trying to exit. You let another year pass in the relationship you've already emotionally abandoned. And now the decision isn't just hard, it's structural. You've built a life around the thing you don't want. I know someone who spent 5 years saying they were going to leave a relationship. 5 years. I'm sure many of you kind of know that feeling. And every year they made one more decision that locked them in. They bought a house or combined finances or even got a dog. And then one day they looked up and said, I can't leave now. It's too complicated. And they were right. It was too complicated, but it didn't start that way. It got complicated because they spent 5 years avoiding the decision while simultaneously deepening the commitment. That is not burnout. That's self-imprisonment.
Whatever do you mean?
There's also this effect called the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks occupy more mental space than finished ones. An unmade decision is an unfinished task. It loops. It drains you even when you're not thinking about it. Every day you delay, you're compounding the cost. And here's the part that, well, it's going to have to sting a little bit because you think you're protecting yourself by waiting. And the truth is, you're not. You're just making the inevitable harder. All right, let's land this. What decision have you already made that you're pretending is still open for debate? Not what you want, guys. Not what is your purpose. What have you already decided internally, but refuse to execute it externally? I want you to sit with that just for a few seconds, because I assure you, you know what it is. So, this week, say it out loud. Say what that is out loud to yourself, in your car, in the shower, alone, not to justify it, not to plan it, just to stop pretending that it isn't there. You don't have to act on it yet. But you do have to stop using exhaustion as the reason that you cannot name it.
Take control, up we rise, heart of rock and roll.
I want you to remember this. Most burnout is structural, not circumstantial. If the decision doesn't get made, the exhaustion will not end. Rest is not the solution. Honesty is.
Night turns into pride.
And this is Unusual Practice 2026. Every week, I will be bringing you one thing, a sharper lens on the thing you already know about, but haven't said out loud yet.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
No woo-woo, no motivation, no three-step systems, just the uncomfortable question you need to sit with. If that's useful to you, if you'd rather be oriented than comforted, then follow the show. New episode drop every Monday. Each one is built to last one commute, one walk, one moment where you're ready to stop pretending. And if this episode landed, share it with one person who needs to hear it, not because I need the algorithm to boost, though I won't complain, but because the people in your life who are pretending to be burnt out, they're waiting for permission to admit what they already know. Send them this. It might be the thing that finally breaks the stalemate. Until then, see you next week.
Mom, somebody just followed me.
Happy New Year, y'all.